What's going on, all you wild ghouls? Your two favorite critics are back here for Cinefellas, and we're still doing some more 31 Days of Oh. I'm Logan
Woo!
Myers, and my good mate over there.
I'm Henry Hill, and what are we talking about tonight, Logan?
Yeah, we're talking about Conan the Barbarian, or should I say the brand new horror film, Barbarian.
Barbarian.
Pleasurable experiences. This is perfectly natural.
And this is a film I knew nothing about. I've heard a lot of people talking about this buzz in the horror movie groups that I'm a part of, and they're all talking about this movie, producer of it. It's just to be, pretty intense. And now I see why they've been talking about it. Hell of a movie, and it's something you don't expect with a really cool ending. So the setup of this film, we have two people that rent out this Airbnb in Detroit. They both kind of double book it, so they stay there, and weird stuff starts happening.
Yeah, right away from the get-go, Tess goes to stay at her Airbnb, and little does she know there's already somebody there, and it just happens to be Pennywise the Clown himself. Bill Skarsgård is there playing this creepy, he's kind of awkward and creepy. You don't know whether to trust him. You kind of get the sense that something's off about him. And so does old Tess. She doesn't like it from the get go. He just does one weird thing after the other, gets a really weird vibe, obviously being there in the place where she was going to rent out. But it's really shitty outside. It's raining. She needs a place to stay. So eventually, she's like, yeah, I'm just going to stay the night here. Hopefully this guy leaves me alone. He agrees to let me have the room. He'll sleep on the couch. Here goes. I'll lock the door. Let's see what happens here. She ends up staying the night. And at first she's real put off by him and kind of, doesn't know whether to trust him or not. But eventually they kind of click and, she can see herself in a relationship with the young Bill, maybe. And the movie kind of sets up from there. It's kind of crazy what happens there. We don't want to give too much away. We'll just say that it sets up and it feels like a movie that we've seen before. Somebody's at this Airbnb. We've seen the rental before, obviously. Rental places being, crazy people owning them, and then you come and stay in there, and they have cameras set up or whatever. Well, there's a little setup at the beginning of this film where they find a room downstairs. I think it's downstairs, and there's a camera set up and a bucket besides the bed. And that's all I'm going to give away.
Yeah, and Tessa tells, or she gets stuck down in the basement. Basically, the door locks. She gets out, and Keith, played by Bill Skarsgård, is like, "What happened?" She's like trying to tell him about it. It's all cliche, like the dumb boyfriend that never doesn't really think about it, or is like, "Yeah, whatever," shrugs it off, like no big deal. And of course, there's something lurking behind the door, or something like that. He goes down to check out the basement, and of course, disappears down this tunnel. Essentially, we find out about this, kind of hidden door that goes tunnel deep into the basement, and that's when all the creepy stuff starts happening, and it's pretty funny. It's some really cliche setups, but the payoff is really nice in this film because it really sets up some decent jump scares. I jumped a few times watching this. It really brought some horrific and scary elements to this movie that got under my skin. And again, like you were saying, I don't want to give too much away. I want everybody to go in fresh eyes like I did, but it's something you don't expect.
Yeah, that's what this movie's all about. Go in not knowing too much. This movie really subverted and exceeded my expectations going in. Just watching the initial 15 minutes, I thought I knew where it was going to go, but it went to a whole other place where I didn't necessarily want to go. But I'm glad that they took us there as viewers and they subvert your expectations. And, later on in the film, we meet up with Justin Long, who plays this, TV star basically, who's being accused of being inappropriate with one of his co-stars, and he ends up at that same Airbnb. So that's all you want to know going in, really. You've seen Justin Long in the preview. Something creepy is in this place, but we don't want to give anything away. But let me tell you, it's terrifying. And some of the scares, like you mentioned, were really well done. There's some great setups. It's been a good month for new horrors, really. I mean, between this and Pearl, these two have, really reinvigorated horror this year. And I was really excited and thrilled, and it far exceeded my expectations. And I highly recommend Barbarian.
Yeah, this is coming from writer director Zach Kreger. Hi, what a fucking powerhouse film this was, this is, coming out a few weeks after Pearl came out. We just reviewed that, had a great time with that. Follow-up sequel, to X or prequel to that. And then we have Barbarian coming around, and everybody's been talking about this. I'm like, producer from it, great. Who gives a shit? It's probably gonna suck. But man, I was blown away by this movie. It's only an hour and a half. It gets right to the point. It brings a lot of horror to this, a lot of surprising elements to it, a lot of themes and messages they're talking about that I got out of it. Stuff with Hollywood and Me Too movement and stuff like that. There's a lot of cool stuff going on in this film. At first, you think it's gonna go this way, but towards the middle to the third act of the film, it goes a completely different way. Keeps you guessing. Felt much like Don't Breathe meets a film, Wes Craven movie in the 80s or 90s. And a lot of other films all kind of thrown into this, but it felt in the vein of Wes Craven, maybe a little love letter to Mr. Craven. And I just like the final product of this movie. It's a movie I definitely would watch again. I might pick up and for my own personal copy of it at home in 4K. So that being said, I'm going to give the brand new horror film that we had a great time with, Barbarian, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 Bill Skarsgård hair pieces.
I was also reading about Zach Kreger a little bit on his background. He's actually in a comedy troupe known as The Whitest Kids You Know. He's part of that troupe. So he comes from mainly, the comedy world, but basically he had this idea of the Airbnb and he was writing and, he was got to a place where he was like, yeah, we've kind of seen this before. And then he had another thought and he it was a totally different, story that he started forming and wrote it out. And he kind of combined the two stories together. And he realized that he had something really unique and something, a big twist that was going to make this film even better from what he initially, started writing. So some good stuff here and an awesome film written and directed by Zach Kreger. Major shout out to him coming in and making this film. A movie that I am definitely going to pick up on 4K physical copy if I can, hopefully a steelbook. An awesome movie for you guys to check out this Halloween season. If it's still playing at your theater, do go and see this and be prepared to be pretty freaked out afterwards like me and Logan here were. I think you guys are going to enjoy this. I am going to give Zach Kreger's Barbarian a 4 out of 5 Justin Long hair pieces.
We're interested in hearing your ghouls' thoughts on the brand new film Barbarian. What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? What's been your favorite horror flick this year? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to click subscribe. Also, check out these wild werewolf impersonators on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and our website, cinefellas.com, for the latest, greatest TV movie news and horror reviews.
Ooh, it's been a spooky month for these two monsters. We've been reviewing everything under the full moon, you can say, and we're gonna continue this all month long. I'm going to be covering things that are coming out this month, as well as some old classic horror films and TV shows. So stay tuned to this very channel for more 31 Days of Horror.
So this is your two favorite Justin Long impersonators signing out. I'm Uncle Logan. That's my good mate over there.
Henry Hill.
Signing out until the next horror movie review for 31 Days of Horror.
Cheers!